Call 1-800-YB-YELLOW.
This is Jeopardy! And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Daily Double.
It's the most popular quiz show on television.
You will be to the camera on your left. Lakshminarayanan.
Exactly.
The buzzer is sort of what separates the winner from the two non-winners.
With over $2.5 million, he is the top TV game show winner in history.
Ken?
What is Spaceballs?
Ken.
Who is Jean Lafitte?
Ken.
What's the dodo?
Ken.
What is Terabithia?
Ken.
What is bungee jumping?
Ken.
What is Stella?
He has set a record which may never be matched.
I got beaten by someone very good. That was great. And it was a relief just to know how the story ended.
Back in 1964, he created the show and wrote the theme music.
It's part of our culture. Everybody knows my little song that I wrote for it. You know,
And also tonight, a Nightline moment from our first 25 years. Merv Griffin and I remembering how he and I once did a television show together.
And nobody guessed me. Are you sure no one guessed me? And you gave me this baleful stare. I mean, we're doing a talk show here, for God's sake. Let's get back to Nightline for a moment.
It gave you a start. Game shows gave you a start, Ted.
From ABC News. This is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
On today's episode of the quiz program Jeopardy, Ken Jennings, a 30-year-old software engineer from Salt Lake City, Utah, lost. Actually, the program is pre-recorded weeks in advance, and Ken Jennings' streak of 74 wins and his record-shattering earnings of $2,520,700, all of that ended in reality some weeks ago. But that was a secret. And you've got to hand it to the folks at Jeopardy. They do a better job of maintaining security than some of our intelligence agencies. My colleague Judy Muller is going to be taking you behind the scenes of this phenomenally popular television program. But she and we had to sign confidentiality agreements, promising not to reveal what everybody now knows. All of it is a pretty strange arrangement because for much of the past 6 months, Ken Jennings has had to lead sort of a double life. Judy will tell you about that in a moment. But in a nation that treasures records set and broken, consider this. Ken Jennings is now, and is likely to remain for some time, the all-time top TV game show winner in the world. And in so doing, he took an already hugely popular television program and turned it into a national phenomenon. Here's Judy Muller.
His final response was FedEx. His wager was 5601. He winds up in
someone was bound to take him out eventually.
99, and Nancy Zerg. Congratulations, you are indeed a giant killer.
But by the time this 30-year-old word slinger from Utah finally met his match, he had 74 wins notched on his gun and more than $2 million in his saddlebag. He was, in short, a legend.
He has done something remarkable. He has set a record which may never be matched on a quiz show.
That kid just switches categories like he's all over the place.
I don't know that anyone could have predicted this kind of a run. It had never happened before. It would not have been able to have happened before because we had a 5-show limit.
Ken Jennings, software engineer from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Last year, Jeopardy lifted the rule that said no contestant could play beyond 5 games. But no one expected a contestant like Ken Jennings to come along.
Well, I think he's extraordinary. Of course, there are the disbelievers in the audience who thinks he has an implant in his head, he's got a thing stuck in his ear, and so there's no way you could do that.
In fact, Jeopardy goes to great lengths to prevent cheating. The security on the set is extraordinary.
All of the game material is so secure that I think the Pentagon would probably be a little bit envious of the lengths that we go to.
In Jeopardy, the clues are answers. The contestants must then come up with the questions and respond in that form.
What is Chinatown?
Each morning before the show is taped, the writers and host Alex Trebek go over the clues for the day.
I'm going to have to read all of these clues. I want to know that the clue makes sense. I want to know that it is factual and accurate.
The clues are put into categories. Head writer Gary Johnson then organizes them from the easiest to the most difficult.
I decide whether I think it should be a Jeopardy question in the first round or a double Jeopardy category in the second round.
We were allowed to see the process, but not the product.
And these over here, which you've covered up, are questions and categories that have not yet aired.
That's right.
And you're not going to show me those.
No.
Not a chance.
The writers work in a state-of-the-art reference library. After 8 years on the job, Johnson has a head full of facts, which can sometimes be a curse.
The curse comes at 1 o'clock in the morning when someone calls you from a bar and says, we have a bet going on. And, you know, what's that called when the water goes down the drain in one direction in the northern hemisphere and it goes down in the other direction in the southern hemisphere, and you go, it's the Coriolis effect, and, you know, would you let me go back to bed now?
The writers are never allowed to meet the contestants. The categories and clues are sent on a computer disk to a control room before the show is taped.
When we get here in the morning, we have to make a call to get the game disc. We process all the game material for the day, and no unauthorized person is allowed to step through this door.
Meanwhile, the contestants are given a chance to rehearse a bit to get rid of that deer-in-the-headlights look.
You need to be, when Johnny introduces you, you will be to the camera on your left.
Backstage, Trebek is doing some last-minute rehearsing as well.
Lakshminarayanan.
Exactly.
Okay.
Once the studio audience is in place, announcer Johnny Gilbert gets things rolling.
This is Jeopardy! And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
And the games begin. What the audience at home will not see, however, are the moments when they stop. Judges call for a pause in the taping if there is any dispute over an answer.
Don't you guys wish you knew what they were talking about? Yes. No, you don't, believe me.
It will happen from time to time. A contestant will say something we hadn't counted on. We'll have to stop and find out, is that right?
What is a bedroom?
Bedroom, yeah.
Even with the interruptions, which are rare, the shows move at an incredibly fast pace. The contestants come and go. Once in a while, of course, they come and stay.
He now has $1,004,960.
It was like a day job. But, you know, I tried to go out of my way to sort of, you know, be the nice guy. I figured I would be hated enough, you know, by the other contestants.
Now, why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Getting on Jeopardy is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I'm sure it's jarring to show up and have somebody tell you, and this is the 40-game champion. You need to play him. So I tried to be exaggeratedly nice in some, you know.
Love him or hate him, Americans tuned in to watch him. And that, of course, gave this 21-year-old quiz show an enormous boost.
This is Jeopardy!
When we come back, the origin of that unforgettable theme music.
Everybody knows my little song that I wrote for it. You know, da-dee-da-da-da-da.
And the threats to dumb down Jeopardy.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by FedEx.
That's a dollar bill from our first sale. And that's a note from our first client just wishing us luck.
What's this?
That's our first temper tantrum. We needed to ship a package and the UPS store was closed. Steve lost it. But now we go to FedEx Kinko's because they're open late. A lot of them are open 24/7. That's Steve.
The new FedEx Kinko's. Make it, print it, pack it, ship it. Our office is your office.
What's this? That's a blade. Blade? What's a blade? Blade's a server. This is a server? That's a server. Where's all the stuff? Stuff? What stuff? The plugs, the cables, you know. In the Blade Center? Blade Center. Where you put the blades. What's a blade? You're messing with me, right?
Highly simplified, affordable IBM eServer Blade Center with Intel Xeon processors.
After winning more than $2.5 million on Jeopardy, he finally lost. Who is Ken Jennings? And tomorrow, the only place you'll hear from Ken live, together with a player who did the unthinkable and beat him, is on Good Morning America tomorrow.
Hey kids, ready for your big moment?
Yeah!
Moms and dads with Sprint PCS Vision picture phones. It's easy to show Grandma the lovely holiday.
Goose! I'm a goose!
I knew that. Check it out.
Sprint PCS Vision picture phones are easy to use. More people share unlimited pictures with them than any others. Now at Sprint stores starting at $9.99.
It's easy. Say cheese.
Honk!
Close enough.
Sprint PCS. Now that's better.
Ford is zeroing in on the best offers of the year with 0% interest for 72 months on a new Ford, 0 for 72 on Expedition, 0 for 72 on Explorer, 0 for 72 on Ranger, 0 for 72 on Taurus, and 0 for 72 on Freestar. Now's your time to zero in on savings on some of the best vehicles on the road. 0% interest for 72 months or big cash back. Only for a limited time and only at your local Ford store.
Jeopardy is seen on more than 200 television stations and has a faithful audience of millions of Americans. Sometimes described as the thinking man's quiz show, it might also be dubbed Revenge of the Nerds.
Isn't that a great message? That it's cool to be smart and it pays to be smart?
Isn't that what America's all about, really? I mean, somebody coming out of the masses of people and succeeding.
The show was created by producer Merv Griffin as a reaction to the quiz show scandals of the late 1950s.
It came out of a conversation that Merv had with his wife at that time. And he said he really wanted to do another game show, and she said, well, why don't you just give them, you know, the answers?
And I said, that's exactly how everybody went to jail for giving the contestants the answers. No, 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 no. I mean, 5,280. I said, well, that's how many feet in a mile.
These three people will compete for cash prizes today on Jeopardy!
And so the idea was born, a quiz show that reverses the usual order of things. The format hasn't changed very much over the years. Contestants still must solve increasingly difficult clues in a 5-second time period.
Who was Lothario? No.
Wrong.
A lot of people watching the show from home might be thinking, hey, I could do that. But getting here is quite a challenge.
The answer is 25,000.
What is the number of people who audition for Jeopardy every year?
The answer is 400.
What is the number of people who actually appear on the show?
In other words, it's not easy to land a spot on this program.
First of all, they have to pass what I think is a really difficult test. I don't know if I could pass it necessarily. And then they have to have good energy, good personality, want to have fun playing the game. It never hurts to have a competitive nature. I think that's a big part of it as well.
Even the host of the show doubts he could pass muster as a contestant.
No more. No.
Why not?
I'm older. My reflexes are slower. I have trouble recalling what happened last Tuesday, let alone information that I acquired 20, 30, or 40 years ago.
What are the Catskills?
Correct.
But some contestants have had to deal with much more than age-related memory lapses.
I think clearly Eddie Timanis, the blind contestant, was the most uplifting experience I've ever had as a producer.
Eddie, congratulations.
Not only did this blind contestant compete, he actually won 5 games, the maximum allowed at the time.
The only accommodation that we made was that at the beginning of each round, he was handed a card that had each of the category headings in Braille. Other than that, he played under the same rules as everybody else.
Even for players with all their faculties, the game is challenging and requires a wide range of knowledge.
It's related to intelligence. To some degree, I think that it is sort of a parlor trick, just to have all these facts and to be able to pull them out of the drop of a hat, you know? It doesn't make you smart in the same way that Stephen Hawking is smart or some guy researching cures for cancer is smart.
But the questions were apparently too smart for one network executive. 1 month after the show first aired, says Griffin, the head of NBC's research department asked him to make the questions easier.
And he said, Merv, I don't want to go through the whole thing with you, but the result of it is if you don't dumb this down to, say, 13 to 14-year-olds, averages in school, intelligence. He said the show will be off the air in 13 weeks.
Griffin never passed that message on to the show's producer and writers.
If it loses, it'll lose it, but I wasn't going to do that.
And the show succeeded, beyond Griffin's wildest dreams.
Good Lord, how long has it's been on forever? It's part of our culture. It's a part of, I mean, everybody knows my little song that I wrote for it. You know, da dee da 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 da. Took me 15 minutes. Probably his. You know, it's earned somewhere $25 million, $30 million.
It's known as the thinking music, and every time it's played, at a sporting event, for example, Griffin gets paid.
Ka-ching.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
The program is certainly making money for a lot of people. Ken Jennings is now one of them.
When we come back, super champion Ken Jennings, his tips for success, and his moment of defeat.
This is Stan. Stan knows IT. And Stan knows if there's any news from headquarters, he can use Sprint to connect wirelessly and order parts instantly. Sprint helps Stan and 2,500 HP service engineers do their job faster, which saves HP millions in overtime. With Sprint, Stan's world is efficient, wireless, beautiful. Learn more at sprint.com.
Diversify, diversify, diversify. What we try to do at AIM from a solutions building standpoint is making sure that the advisors that we work with have all the tools that they need to meet their clients' long-term goals, because every client-advisor relationship is different. And the benefit of working with a company like AIM is that we do bring all this to the table to make sure that you're going to be able to meet those client needs.
Consider investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses carefully. For this and other information, obtain a prospectus from your advisor and read it thoroughly before investing.
What gives a man ultimate shaving performance? Brawn Activator's revolutionary new foil with differently shaped holes captures hair growing in any direction for a closer shave in fewer strokes. And the world's most advanced automatic cleaning center leaves it feeling like a new shaver every day. Try the new Brawn Activator. It's the world's best self-cleaning shaver, guaranteed.
Because you did 2 years worth of work in 12 months. Because you went after 10 new clients and got 11. But mostly because right now at Office Depot, you can get a compact Presario with Intel Pentium 4 processor for just $499.99. Or get $200 off any HP Pavilion with Intel Centrino technology. Because this holiday season, maybe the person who deserves a gift most is you. Now at Office Depot.
Tonight, late night's most candid talk show host meets the undisputed king of comedy.
If it gets too crazy in here, I will turn a hose on you.
People's Choice nominee Jimmy Kimmel welcomes Robin Williams to an unpredictable night of comedy. Jimmy Kimmel coming up only on ABC.
What do you get when a financial firm with 66,000 people in 50 countries takes the time to understand your needs like it's just the two of you? Could it be the most powerful two-person financial firm in the world? You and us, UBS.
And you become the Jeopardy champion.
Ken Jennings may be the greatest quiz show champion ever, but his greatest moment was that very first day.
Just winning that first game, which was a very close game, nip and tuck, could have gone either way. Just that sudden wave of euphoria when I realized I get to go home and tell people I won on Jeopardy. Nothing like that before or since.
Home is Salt Lake City, where Ken lives with his wife and 2-year-old son.
Where's Daddy?
Dylan, where's Daddy?
And where he works as a computer software engineer. Although he is taking a leave of absence.
Ken, there's a couple things before you leave. There was a software glitch on my computer.
He has no intention of leaving for good.
I love my job. I don't see myself as retiring at 30 just because of this.
How do they feel about you at work?
I think they're as proud as could be. There's all kinds of Ken memorabilia, Ken-memorabilia up on the walls at work.
But during those first weeks of taping the show, Ken led a double life. Since the shows had not yet aired, no one was allowed to know where he was.
Nobody knew except my boss. So I'd sort of be just working at my normal day job, living my normal life, and I'd feel like, you know, Clark Kent, because every couple weeks I'd have to secretly fly out here to LA and you know, have this secret identity as a game show star.
Jeopardy pays for plane fare to Los Angeles for returning champions, but not their hotel or other expenses. So Ken stayed in some very humble accommodations.
I chose to stay in this little motel, for one thing, because it was right by the studio, and also it was cheap. You know, I didn't want to spend a lot of money. This is before I was the, you know, Jeopardy millionaire.
After the show began to air, after he made his first million,
he now has $1,004,960.
Ken became something of a celebrity who seemed to inspire as much animosity as admiration.
I was reading an article in a sports magazine that said I obviously had the personality of a hall monitor, that I was the guy that everyone avoided at the office Christmas party, and they said I was punchable. They encouraged physical abuse against my person.
How did you feel about that?
At first I was sort of ticked. You know, this guy doesn't even know me. He just watches me on a game show.
Websites sprang up, charting his progress. Every possible statistic was recorded. The number of times he answered correctly, the number of times he was the first to ring in. And speaking of ringing in, mastering that buzzer is an art form.
The buzzer is sort of what separates the winner from the two non-winners.
It seems simple enough. You just have to click the button to ring in.
It is, but it's a little more complicated than that. For one thing, you have to wait till Alex finishes reading the question.
Okay.
And then a human being, like, activates your buzzer. If you buzz in too early, you're going to get locked out for a fraction of a second.
So to buzz in too early is just as bad as buzzing in too late.
Often that is the beginner's mistake, I think.
How hard could it be? This beginner found out.
He was the second president of the United States. Timing was good. You also have to have an answer, though.
I know. Adams?
Very good, see? But you know what you should have done is phrase it in the form of a question.
The show would be over by the time I got to that answer.
Knowing when to ring in, knowing the answer, remembering to phrase it correctly, many a contestant has been humbled by the combination.
There are two built-in excuses or rationalizations for not doing well. One,
I never could master that signaling device. It's just really tough.
And the second one, those weren't my categories.
And the other excuse, of course, is I was up against Ken Jennings.
Ah, that makes you feel good. There is no shame involved if you have lost to Ken Jennings.
And a whole lot of pride if you were the one to finally defeat him.
I got beaten by someone very good. That was great. And it was a relief just to know how the story ended. You know, I've been as much in suspense as everyone else about this whole thing, so it was cool to be able to know the end of the story.
But it was also bittersweet. Jennings and Trebek had bonded after 4 months together. Trebek says he actually teared up when he told Ken goodbye.
I felt that because, I don't know, it was the end of a wonderful experience for him and for me, I think.
And for the show. It didn't hurt your ratings.
It helped us immensely.
Were you able to be happy for the person who beat him?
Yes, because it was quite an accomplishment. The lady defeating someone who had won 74 games in a row. But there was that element of disappointment also because, what? You mean Ken has lost? Inconceivable!
So you've won over $2 million on Jeopardy. You're recognized on the street. Your family is proud. What's next? A book?
I'll have a book coming out from Random House sometime next year.
I was kidding. You have a book coming out?
I will have a book coming out.
That's great. What will it be about?
Just about my experiences, you know, what in my life led me to this point, sort of the bigger questions of trivia and knowledge in our society in general, and what that has to do with intelligence, things like that.
Huh. And what does it have to do with intelligence?
I'm not going to give it away. Buy the book.
The final Jeopardy answer is
75. Question: how many games will the next champion have to win to break Ken's record? I'm Judy Muller for Nightline in Los Angeles.
When we come back, a shadowy moment from my own game show history with Merv Griffin. It comes from our first 25 years.
The Nightline 25th Anniversary Moment. Brought to you by Capital One.
$120.90.
I'll just put it on the credit card.
But those rates.
Don't worry. I'll just put it on our Capital One Prime Lock cards.
Introducing the new Capital One Prime Lock card. It's set at prime so you never have to worry about your interest rate again.
What's in your wallet?
Because she's the first one in and the last one to leave. Because he was your client before you even had an office. Because before you know you need it, it's already been done. Because you call him at home, often. Because the smaller the business, the more people there are to thank. Office Depot has as many gifts as there are reasons to give them. The top 100 gifts for business, only at Office Depot.
Wednesday.
What is it?
He was trying to hurt my baby. It's never too late to get lost.
We gotta find out who did this to her.
Because this is only the beginning.
What is it?
An all-new Lost. Wednesday, 8/7 Central. Only on ABC.
I have a checking account and I have $3 or $4 or $5 in it, and I'm saving it for college. College is very important. It's important to be whatever you want to be for the rest of your life. You can be anything you want to be. I'm not kidding, I'm serious.
Get serious about saving for your kids' education. Call 1-877-43-BRIGHT or visit brightstartsavings.com.
McRib is back for $1.99.
Almost there. Okay. Surprise.
Oh, honey! How did you get a bow that big?
It's that time of year again. Time for the Lexus December to Remember sales event, where you'll find the best values of the year on your favorite Lexus vehicles. See your Chicago area Lexus dealer.
Over the course of the past 24 and a half years, we have produced well over 6,000 Nightline broadcasts. So pick a subject, any subject, and chances are better than even that we've covered it in one form or another. Tonight's subject, for example, television game shows, something with that Merv Griffin fella, something that ties it all neatly together. I had actually forgotten about a program we did in early March of 1987, but Merv Griffin hadn't.
Ted, you know what I don't think you're saying? Weren't your beginnings on a game show?
No, my beginnings were not. I was, as a matter of fact, you were very nasty to me.
Ted, I think you better confess.
I'm going to confess. When I was a page, I was still in college, I was a page at NBC News, and I appeared on one of your programs. I was one of the phony contestants, and some other kid had won a contract for RCA. It was to tell the truth, I guess. And
No.
It wasn't to tell the truth?
It was
what
called,
show was it?
I was the host of it. It was called Play Your Hunch.
Play Your Hunch.
And
You're exactly right.
You had a lip sync recording.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember the words, and I just kind of moved
you got
my
out
lips,
there,
and nobody guessed me. Are you sure
Absolutely.
no one guessed me? And you gave me this baleful stare. I don't know. I mean, we're doing a talk show here, for God's sake. Let's get back to Nightline for a moment.
It gave you a start. Game shows gave you a start, Ted.
Yeah, they certainly did, and it took me 10 years to get over that start that it gave me. No.
The original version of Jeopardy, incidentally, premiered 40 years ago in 1964. The syndicated version with Alex Trebek began in 1984. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Time and Temp brought to you by ComEd and Exelon Company.
Try being Kris Kringle's little brother. Man, you never win. Even now, I'm not good at this holiday stuff. But with BestBuy.com, it's easy for us regular guys to pull off holiday miracles, too. It's for me. I'll get it. I thought their stores were big, but oh, man, they have even more great stuff online. There's only one Kris Kringle. For the rest of us, there's Best Buy.
Remember grade school math? It's paying off like never before. Do the math. Add up what you're spending now compared to unlimited SBC local and long distance, high-speed internet, singular wireless, and digital satellite TV. You could start saving today, like adding SBC Yahoo DSL for just $19.95 a month. Don't thank us. Thank your second grade math teacher.